The budget request makes good on President Biden's campaign commitment to invest in education and begins to address the significant inequities that students, primarily students of color, confront every day in schools and in pursuit of higher education and career technical education. I first want to thank members of the subcommittee and your staff who helped ensure passage of the American Rescue Plan, bringing vital resources to our schools and colleges across the country. I can tell you from experience that the ARP funds will ensure that school buildings reopen for full-time, in-person instruction as safely and as soon as possible. Once we fully reopen buildings, we still have plenty of work to do. Generations of inequity have left far too many students without equitable access to high-quality, inclusive learning opportunities, including in our rural communities. Education can be the great equalizer. It was for me. If we prioritize, we replicate and invest in what works for all students, not just some. We must do more to level the playing field, including providing a strong foundation from birth, improving diversity among the teacher workforce, and creating learning pathways that work for all students. To that end, the budget proposal calls on Congress to invest nearly $103 billion in the Department of Education programs, a 41% increase over the fiscal year 2021 appropriation to support student success. The fiscal year 2022 request also makes a meaningful down payment toward the Biden-Harris administration's goal of reversing inequities. It starts with a proposed increase to double funding for Title I to address disparities between under-resourced schools and their wealthier counterparts, support teachers in Title I schools earning competitive wages, expand access to pre-kindergarten, and provide equitable access to advanced coursework. Our request would also build on Congress's prior commitments to support the mental health needs of our students, including by increasing the number of school counselors, of school nurses, and mental health professionals in our schools. In addition, the President's request will increase the availability of wraparound services to students and families in underserved schools and communities with a significant expansion of the full-service community schools program. We also think it's past time for federal government to make good on its commitment to students with disabilities and their families. And the request makes a significant move toward full funding of IDEA, proposing a 20% increase for IDEA state grants. Turning to higher education, our budget proposal begins the Biden-Harris administration's critical work to increase access and affordability for post-secondary education. The budget's proposal, coupled with increase proposed in the American Families Plan, would be the largest increase to the Pell Grant ever, helping millions of students and families pursue their goals. Importantly, our proposal would also ensure that Dreamers may receive full Pell Grants if they meet the current eligibility requirements. The fiscal year 2022 request paints a bold picture for the future of our institutional and student support programs. The budget increases institutional capacity and student support for minority-serving institutions with additional funding for HBCUs, Hispanic-serving institutions, Asian American and Native American Pacific Islander serving institutions, tribally controlled colleges and universities, as well as those TRIO and GERO programs that we know help ensure underserved students succeed in and graduate from college. Finally, we prioritize efforts to enforce civil rights laws related to education through a 10% increase for the Office of Civil Rights to protect students and advance equity in educational opportunity and delivery in preschool through college. Working together with stakeholders, including educators and students, we can and will heal, learn, and grow together through this challenging time. I'm committed to working collaboratively with each of you and to strengthen local decision-making and help improve opportunities, pathways, and outcomes for students across this country, including in our rural communities. So I want to thank you, and I look forward to any questions you may have.
Very much, Mr. Secretary. Pleased in your testimony to hear about $20 billion for Title I. and addressing the funding disparities between under-resourced schools, districts, and their wealthier counterparts. What is of concern to me is that 90% of K through 12 education funding in this country comes from states and districts. With just a handful of exceptions, I'm concerned that most states do not sufficiently prioritize funding for high poverty districts and communities of color. Given the reality, how do you see the proposed $20 billion increase to Title I improve the equity in state funding?
Thank you. Well, we know, the elements of this plan really serve to communicate the transformational impact that President Biden and the team want to have in education, and really value the role that education plays in the growth of this country. So the Title I allotment really helps level the playing field by making sure that our schools, especially our students in greatest need, have additional resources to provide more reading instruction, more social emotional support for these students, providing them the intervention and support that they're going to need so that education could be that equalizer for them. This targeted approach toward Title I schools and programs really aims to make sure that when we're out of this pandemic and when we're thinking about education in the years to come, we're making sure that all students have access to high quality opportunities, high quality instruction, additional support to be successful in school.
Hey guys, did you know we have a podcast called WJ Live?
The Western Journal's mission is to equip readers with the truth, and that's the same mission we have on WJ Live.
You'll hear from writers, editors, and special guests on the most important topics of the day.
You can catch us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern and 2 p.m. Pacific, right here at youtube.com/WJ Live.
While you're there, help us out by subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss any future episodes. See you there.